Hello everyone. Welcome to my talk about the Nextcloud VM. My name is Daniel and I'm the developer of the Nextcloud VM. And today's talk will be a little bit about the history behind the VM, why I decided to make the VM from the beginning. Also the present state of the VM and the future, what I think will happen in the future, and also a little bit about who am I. So I came from Windows and Dropbox back in 2013. I didn't know anything about Linux. I mean sudo. What was that? I decided to. I mean privacy and integrity have always been like questions that are important for me. And I mean using Dropbox to store all your files, all your personal photos and everything like that in one single place felt kind of like insecure. So I started to look around for options, and I found OwnCloud back then because Nextcloud was founded in 2016. And yeah, I didn't have any Linux skills, and I tried to install it, and it was pretty hard. I mean, Apache, and you needed a server, and you needed like a bunch of stuff that I didn't have any clue about at all. So in the beginning, I was mostly like reporting bugs to the server repository of OwnCloud, and I got help installing my first OwnCloud server. And yeah, here's me sitting with 3 computers, like trying to figure out how everything worked back in 2013. So I reinstalled the server probably like 25 times or even more than that. And if you accumulate all the time I spent on Google, it's probably like 6 months or something like that. I mean, awake from like, you know, when I quit my work until early in the morning. So I started to script the installation instead to get the same result all the time. And I started to do that in 2014 because I noticed there was a need for it. I mean, there were more people like me that wanted to install their own cloud, but they didn't know how to do it. So the first VM that I made was based on around 10 scripts, very easy, like apt-get install and stuff like that, and around 300 lines of bash code. My first public VM I presented or I released in different forums and stuff. I didn't have a web page back then. And it got popular pretty quickly, and I got more server resources because I was running this out of my old HTPC, so I needed a new server. And yeah, like I said, apparently I wasn't the only one with issues installing, because I mean I got several downloads per day, and I also noticed after some time that yeah, it got more popular. So I attended the OwnCloud conference back in 2015, where I presented the VM. And yeah, I got good response. I mean, one of the developers of OwnCloud posted this tweet that it was one of the most important thing that happened to OwnCloud that year, that you could yeah, just download the OwnCloud VM, and then you had your own server. So I published, yeah, time went, and as you may know, Nextcloud OwnCloud was forked by its own inventor, Frank Kaltishek. And yeah, he created Nextcloud, and they asked me if I wanted to yeah, do their virtual machine, which I said yes to. So in 2016 I published all my bash codes, or my bash, yeah, that I wrote in their own in Nextcloud's repository. Over the time I made different versions of the VM. The free and standard version is 40 gigabytes. Then you have different options as well, like you can download a 500 gigabyte version, you can download a 1 terabyte version, and 2 terabyte version, and also for Hyper-V, which you can find in the shop. The present state of the VM is that it helps you do a full installation. You can yeah, Nextcloud is not only like a Dropbox or not only a cloud. But you can also do some online editing if you want to. You can use Elasticsearch for all your files. You can you have contacts, you have calendar, you have like everything. I would compare it to maybe like Google Apps or something like that, where you have everything in one place. So it's rather than like just a cloud service, it's an ecosystem of apps together that makes it complete, I would say. So this is some of the apps that you can install with the scripts and that are included in the VM as well. The full list is available on GitHub. So it's easy to deploy, and the whole thought about the VM was to make it possible and to make it easy for people to install Nextcloud themselves. I mean, my target audience is people coming from Windows that doesn't have a clue, like I didn't have a clue back in 2013 on how to install a Linux server. With this, it's possible to just download a OVA file, run the initial script, and voila, you have your own server prepared with SSL and all the different security measures as well. So that's one option. You can download OVA. You can also go to GitHub and run the scripts for yourself. The only thing you need is a server, like a bare bones server, or a virtual machine which runs Ubuntu. I chose Ubuntu because Ubuntu is the distribution that I am most familiar with, since I started out with that. And it's also tested on VMware, VirtualBox, Hyper-V, and also KVM. So it works on those hypervisors. Small text here, but it's based on Ubuntu servers, as I said before, mostly because, I mean, if you want to learn Linux, my opinion is that Ubuntu contains like, it's easy to learn Ubuntu, I would say, and there's a lot of like, if you Google, you can find a lot of information about Ubuntu online. So I chose that rather than choosing a smaller distro, because it's easier for newcomers to learn Linux, which also is like one of the goals with the VM, to make people more interested in Linux and to learn Linux as well. It runs on Apache, PHP, FPM, PHP 7.2, Postgres, Redis Memcache, and I also use ZFS for the data store. So the main OS is on a disk, which is on X4, and then you have ZFS for the data store, because of multiple reasons. I mean, I think it's safer or better to run ZFS for the data. You also have snapshot capabilities and stuff like that with ZFS, which you don't have with X4, as far as I know, anyway. Let's Encrypt is also included, and I would say it's a full-blown production environment. Several companies around the world use it today. From GitHub, it's been downloaded like 30,000 times or something like that. I don't keep track of how many times it's been downloaded from my own site, but several thousands anyway. So the future, I will keep maintaining it, of course. I mean, that's what I do. I will try to improve and add new features. I'm mostly myself doing this, so I don't have anyone to help me. So as much as time allows, I will try to like make it better. I also want to make the build process easier. Right now, I do every release manually. So I have a base VM, and then I do all the different versions, which takes forever. So it would be nice if someone here would be able to help me with that, because I'm not so good in Vagrant. So you're welcome to help me. And also maybe I will do some more collaboration with some heavier bash projects in Nextcloud as well. And who am I? So I'm always root at localhost, of course. I run a company which is TNM Hansson IT, where I like give support around the Nextcloud VM. I also help people like installing Nextcloud and yeah, stuff like that. I've been a community member since 2013 in OwnCloud then, and in Nextcloud since 2016. And for my full-time work, I work as a sysadmin in Malmö. So that was my speech. I hope you liked it. Do you have any questions, or like, do you wonder anything about the Nextcloud in general, or so? Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, since you're talking about Vagrant and all that, have you also looked at maybe using...
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, so you said about looking at Vagrant and like...
Yeah,
VM.
exactly. Yeah.
Have you also looked at something like Terraform that can also do like orchestration based on bare metal hardware as well?
No, I didn't even know that existed, so no, I haven't. But you're welcome, very welcome to help me if you want.
Any more questions?
Is there anyone here that doesn't know what Nextcloud is, by the way? I mean, yeah, okay, so everyone knows. Good.
How do you test these virtual images? Like, do you test them yourself? Do you have
I test them
team
myself.
of helpers?
Yeah. I don't have any written test for it, but I mean, since I've been doing all the lines and like everything, I know the VM inside out, and I like test different scenarios. Like for instance, if the network is down, what happens then? You know, Bash is very simple. You know, you tell the computer what to do, and it does exactly that. So all the tests that I do myself, which also takes a lot of time actually. Yeah.
So I would like to thank you and
Yeah.
actually open up for the next speaker.
Okay.
Because we have a tight
Yes.
schedule,
Yeah, I
so
understand.
this is
Yes.
one of the tighter slots. But thank you very much.
Thank you.